Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
And we welcome to the show John, who was a survivor of the Toronto plane crash, the Delta Airlines flight. Incredible, insane that 60 people, they all lived from a plane crash. And the interesting thing is he's only done 2 interviews, Fox News and Good Morning America. And he grew up in Kenosha. Even though he's in Minneapolis now, that flight took off from Minneapolis to Toronto. And he was a big Q101 listener growing up, so he's talking to us today, and we're very excited about it. So, John, welcome to the show, and I can't imagine starting off with any other question except, what was it like to survive a plane crash?
I don't know if I could find words to describe that, right? Like, the commercial airline crashes with survivors are a select few in the world, right? And so I'm just grateful to even be here. How does it feel? It's just I'm just glad to be here. I don't know how. I mean, I know that sounds so cheap, but I truly feel that way.
That's just the true reaction. My question to you is, when you were on that plane, did you have the moment to even process what was happening, or was it so insane that you almost didn't even realize what was going on?
The flight from Minneapolis to Toronto, I had actually sat along the window because I had not been to Toronto before, right? And I didn't have my AirPods that day. For whatever reason, I left them at home. And so as we were coming in, I was just hyper aware. It was a new place. I wanted to see, like, the CN Tower, I think is, the tall building. Mm-hmm. And so I was watching as it came in. And, as we were coming in, I noticed that there was a lot of snow blowing across the runways. I noticed we were coming in fast, but, I'm not a pilot, so I'm not qualified to say if it was too fast. And so I was, like, in the moment, and then the crash happened. It felt like being in the Matrix movie at that point, right? Like, we hit, and it was just this loud, like, crunching. If you've ever been, like, in a car-on-car accident, you feel the impact, and then, like, it just started to roll to the right, and everything from there is just, it's fast and slow at the same time.
I have a question. I've always wanted to find this out, and sadly, most of the time you can't do this in a plane crash. Did the people that were assigned the exit row bail on everybody and not help, since they're always asked beforehand to help and they say they will? Did they help anybody, the exit row people?
The answer to that is I don't know. That's an interesting question, because if you notice the photos, people are coming out of the front and the back, but not over the wing. And I was right there. I was in the middle. So I actually was some of the last people off the plane because everybody had to go front or back. I can tell you passengers for certain, I talked to them, that helped get the front and the back door open. But wherever those passengers were, they did help open the doors. What happened, like, in the middle of the aisle or, in the middle of the plane, I'm not sure.
Hey, I'm not judging, because I'd be the hell out of there.
No, Brian's specifically asking because he always says yes and he wants to make sure he doesn't actually have to. That's why that question occurred.
And I'm so jealous of exit row because more leg room.
Of course.
Of course.
Right.
But, it's a big responsibility.
Like, of course I'll hope in a plane crash, but I probably won't,
Once people were getting off the plane, did you feel safe? Were you like, okay, everything's fine, we get off this plane? Or did you not feel okay until you were off of it?
Yeah, I did not feel safe till we were off of it, right? So the initial impact, like I mentioned, right, we start to roll to the right. So we roll all the way, like, basically over, and then if you notice, the plane kind of, like, actually does, like, a 180 on top of it. So, like, we're facing the plane when it finally comes to a stop. We're upside down, backwards, essentially, right? Everybody's trying to figure out what just happened. They're trying to get the doors open. We're trying to get people freed from their seatbelt, because I'm upside down. I let the seatbelt go. I fall basically straight down onto the overhead compartment and land, like, on my back. So I have, like, a lot of, like, bruising and stuff on my back. And then you're trying to help everybody else out. And then, everybody was remarkably calm and collected. I don't know if it was the Minnesotan and Canadian in us that, like, prevent, like, this hey, you go first. No, you go first. I don't know if there was a little bit of Midwest nice going on. I'm not sure, but
Lots of you betches on the plane.
Yeah, there's a lot of you betches and A's. Like after you, A, no, after you.
I mean, the plane's on fire. We should get off the plane. Someone just go
we should
first.
get off the plane. There was a lot of smell of jet fuel, right? I talk about it. My clothes actually are in my garage. They're getting thrown away. We did get jet fuel on us, and that smell was getting to be very strong. And if you've ever started like a grill or your stove and you get that smelling of like hot smell, that was going on. And at that moment, people were like, okay, we now need to get off this plane. Right? And that was the point, which was like, Minnesota nights be damned. Oops, I'm sorry. Like, let's get off the plane and get out of there as fast as possible. And then, so that I didn't feel safe until we were off the plane. And then even then I go to take a photo and then inevitably end up taking the video that everybody now has seen. And shortly after I take that, there actually was like another explosion. The plane caught fire on the far side of the plane. And luckily those firefighters, there was a firefighter who came jumping out of the airplane when that happened. They were dousing it down with more, whatever that is, fire retardant. And so, yeah, we weren't safe until minutes after.
Oh, my God.
I know, it's insane. Well, let's talk about the $30,000. Are the news reports right where they say every passenger was offered $30,000, no strings attached after this happened? So did you get offered that, if you don't mind saying?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think the entire world knows that. Yes, that is the case. Yes, the lawyers have told me that is a no strings attached kind of offer there as well. Everybody knows it, including my kids' friends at school. So,
that sucks. They're all like, hey,
they're like, pizza party?
yeah.
I want a new PS5. Can I borrow $1,000?
Yeah, I had to pick up pizza for all of my friends on Saturday night. Let's just put it that way.
We were discussing, like, was this super, super nice of Delta, or is it like, well, I almost lost my life, though. Does that cover it? Like, do you feel like this was great? Do you feel like it's enough? Are you still processing if it is or not? Like, how do you feel about that?
To be honest, I don't know how to feel about that, right? I will say I almost died on a Delta flight, but I'll never fly on another airline. And I say that because things shouldn't go wrong. That should not have happened, period. I was in a plane crash. But having said that, their response team, they checked in with me again today, and they were like, what else do you need? What's going on? What can we do to help you? I mean, I'm not giving them a pass, right? Because they still crashed the plane. However, their team and their employees, I think, truly care.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's great to hear.
That's awesome.
They care. That's why I'll leave it at that.
That's awesome. Now that you're alive and everything's good, you're safe, and you've laid all this stuff out. Are you going to go for more money?
I mean, there are lawyers involved at this point.
Oh, boy. What that says right there is I can't ask any more questions right there.
And Brian's been cut off. Which most interviews end with Brian getting cut off.
And people saying there's lawyers involved.
I even love your response to that as well. Yeah, you're right. Like, I'm not going to
Well, John, we know you got your windows here closing, so we really appreciate. We're so happy for you and this unique life experience that you have that 0.00001% of people on Earth have, and we're really happy you're doing okay, and that you sound like a really good guy too.
Thank you. I'm glad to still be here.
Now, can I borrow $5,000?
That's awesome. No, you can't.
No, you can't. Damn it. Not a nice guy. That was John, a guy who survived the Toronto Delta plane crash. If you came in at the end of the interview, it'll be on our podcast later.